Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have also the pleasure to have Philippe Cornet, the group CISO of John Cockrell. And John Cockrell is one of our historical customers in Belgium. So in today's session, we will get more insight about how to gain more visibility into the cyber risk and have also the experience with of Philippe Cornet that will also help us to understand how it was implemented during the last years and what's the value of the tool running at John Cockrell. So the first question it's an open question. The first question is how confident are you regarding your cybersecurity? So you put in place a lot of security controls, security tools, policies, but in the end of the day, we are human and you have a lot of things to fix in order to be protected and secure. So with Pentera, you will get the visibility of a hacker, so coming from the root cause, in that case is the 4.7, and running some TTPs in your environment in a safe manner, to make sure that we understand the actual risk. In terms of prioritization, we are able not to focus on the CVSS scoring or just the CVE. We are going behind the scene and looking for weak protocols, misconfiguration, user mistakes, weak passwords, to make sure that you will get the visibility of a hacker. In the end of the day, it will bring us also the remediation list based on the actual prioritization in your context. We all know that CVEs and CVSS scoring, it can be the same CVE in two different organizations. CVSS scoring will be the same. With Pentera, you can actually know and measure the risk inside your organization. So we don't have any false positive also, because we actually hack the vulnerabilities, the misconfiguration, and in the end of the day, it will be more efficient for you and your team to fix what's needed to be fixed. So the good news is that Pentera is agentless. We don't need any agent to deploy Pentera. You install it on top of an Ubuntu platform, and then you run the test. It's real attacks, so it's not a simulation or based on some analysis. If Pentera exploits something in your context, it means that a hacker or a pen tester can do it also. It's comprehensive, meaning that we are covering a lot of use cases. The brain of Pentera is 40 researchers that find new CVEs, new vulnerabilities, new 0 days, and 150 people from the R&D that make sure that all the attack techniques go to the platform in a safe manner. Our goal is to be safe, and this is the first priority, because you don't want to have any impact in the production. In terms of the platform and the coverage of Pentera, so Pentera is based on 3 products. The first one is Pentera Core. It's all the internal infrastructure. So coming like someone that just plugged in an Ethernet cable or plug an USB stick in a machine, and understanding how far we can go. It can be on a black box, on a gray box, and we have also different tests, for example, to challenge the ID. So we are replicating the DC, and then we are trying to crack all the passwords to see if all the passwords are applying to the policy that you put in place. In the end of the day, it will also give you some remediation priorities to make sure that you are fixing the right issues. The second one is Pentera Cloud, based on AWS and Azure. We are running real techniques and real penetration testing in the cloud, and the goal is definitely to validate the cloud in terms of AWS and Azure. And we have also Pentera Surface, meaning that we are coming from outside like hackers do and evaluating your attack surface. So the first phase is what's let's say a typical AISM platform do, But we are doing more than that in exploiting all the OWASP top 10, all the MITRE attacks, and giving you the insight of what's exploitable coming from outside. The ransomware emulation, so it's the ransomware ready module. In a click of a button, you can emulate a ransomware like Clockbeat, Maze, or Revil to make sure that your endpoint protection, your SOC, and your procedure internally are good. So the goal is definitely to validate the EDR across all the organization. We are doing some proof of value, so a POV is one day that we are coming on site, and in 99% of the case, you will find 3-4 machines out of 100 that the EDR is uninstalled or not configured correctly. So our goal is definitely to validate that your EDRs and your security controls are working. Credential exposure, we are looking for the leaked credential based on the darknet, deep web. The goal here is the validation, meaning that we will validate them against your internal environment and external environment. And the last piece is the security validation advisory. So you will get some guidance from a customer success and a solution architect with a very, let's say, offensive background that will provide you some information, deployment, trainings, and also monthly review to make sure that you are improving test over test your security posture. So, in terms of numbers, Pentera was founded in 2015. Today we have 410 employees, and we raised also $250 million via Blackstone, Insight Partner, K1 Evolution, and Fallon. We have more than 1,100 customers in more than 65 countries. Every vertical, so there is no specific vertical that Pentera apply to. We have a lot of use case also. If it comes to public sector, manufacturer, banks, finance, insurance, and we have a lot of use case also to present. Those key logos are, let's say, some of our customers. Those people did a very, let's say, hard due diligence to choose Pentera, and today they are happy customers. So it's definitely something that's valuable, and we are not just providing a software and that's it. We have also a local support and a local team to make sure that you get the best of Pentera on the pre-sale side and also on the post-sale side. So you can see sales and marketing. We have engineers sitting in Belgium, France, and in the Netherlands. And we have also solution architect that will help you and guide you through your remediation and validation journey. Hey Philippe, so let's maybe share with the audience some of your tricks and secrets with Pentera. So first of all, thank you for
you're welcome.
Having you today. So can you maybe introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Philippe Cornet. I have a long experience in IT. It's even more than 30 years, 35 years now. I've worked in all kinds of company, and now I'm the group CISO of John Cockerill. Perhaps you can just go to the... So just to give you an idea, because it's important for what we will discuss after, to give you an idea of what is John Cockerill. Probably you don't know John Cockerill. If you are Belgium, they are often confusion with Cockerill Sambre. Here it's John Cockerill. It's an engineering company that start also to do manufacturing. And we are present in 29 countries, around 7,000 people. One thing that is important is when we look at Pentera 5 years ago, we were around 4,500 people. And so we have a lot of acquisition. And when you add companies, you increase your attack surface because they come with different architecture, different standards, and you need to integrate that without adding people in the IT team. So another thing that is quite important, but we will mention that just after. So you see there are also different type of business. One that is very specific, it's the defense sector, where we have a lot of constraint, a lot of regulation, because there is no Europe. Each country comes with its own rules. On top of that, we have NIS2 now, so we need to be able to manage our risk. And 5 years ago, that was a big challenge for us. So as I mentioned, first there is a small IT team. Just to give you an idea, 5 years ago when we look at Pentera, we had 4 system engineers to support more than 500 servers worldwide. 4. Today the team increased a little bit, and these people were also doing the operational security activities. I was the CISO, but I had to use this resource. So that was a major constraint for what we had to do, on top of all the regulation that we had to follow. So very small team to manage that. A lot of employees, as I mentioned, but it's not the number of employees that it's really the issue. It's more the different type of employee, different culture that we had to put together, different maturity. If you work with the defense people, they are more mature in terms of cybersecurity than the service people. But the service people, they go to do maintenance in nuclear plants with their PC, and we need to manage that also. So a lot of different type of employee and infrastructure that we had to support. And then a very large attack surface in all the country, but also just to cope with all the new acquisition. That was, and it's still a huge challenge, because you need to, a long time ago with the first acquisition, it was simple. If you acquire a company, you just remove all the infrastructure and you put a standard infrastructure. No, it's not possible anymore. We need to cope with different standards, with different infrastructure. So that was a huge challenge.
Yeah, so it sounds like you have a lot of activities, scaling up in terms of employees, very small team to manage all those activities. So it sounds like it's very dynamic.
And also not a lot of tooling. So the system engineer, they had to look in the logs. They had to look at the CVE that were published, no automation. So it makes things even more complex. So at a certain point, we had to do something to manage all this complexity. So we look at, the first thing that we look, it's vulnerability scanning. So we look at the big player, and I come from the financial industry, so I test in the past all kind of vulnerability scanner. The problem when you implement a vulnerability scanner, you receive a long list of vulnerabilities with a score. And if you have only that, what do? Well, you start with the highest one. Seems normal. The problem, that score does not reflect the vulnerability in your infrastructure. And personally, I have no problem to have equipment that are not patched if I cannot patch them, because sometimes you have black box, you cannot patch them because if you touch them, the application is not working and not supported by the vendor. So what you will do, you will segment your network, you will isolate this machine. So it's not a risk in that case if you put some mitigation control. Also, it's a never-ending story, because even if you patch the highest one, the day after you have new one. And with a team of 4 people at that time, you cannot manage that. It's impossible to do. So we had to find something. And then I discovered Pentera, and we decided to do a POV. I remember that day because I was with one of our system engineers. We ran the POV, and 45 minutes later, we had the achievement level 10. So in Pentera, it means that they hack the system and it's the highest level. And Pentera just create a domain admin in our Active Directory. And when we saw that, the system engineer could not believe it. He said, no, that's not possible. He went to check the AD, and there was a new account created by Pentera. And so that was also what convinced us to start with Pentera and to use it just to find the higher risk, because for me that's what we are trying to do every day. It's to identify all the high risk and then take action on this risk. And for the rest, we will do it when we have time. The other thing that we found doing that POV is that Pentera did not use the highest vulnerability. He used some medium and low vulnerability. And by combining this vulnerability, Pentera was able to hack the system. And so this means that when you patch, perhaps you don't need to patch the highest vulnerability, but first you need to patch vulnerabilities that are lower. And also you see the attack chain, and you can decide which vulnerability you will patch first to just break this attack chain. So you don't need to patch everything, but you can really define priorities. And that's what we have done, and that we have really implemented, and we have tried to industrialize that by just running every day. We run scan today. We are still running scan every day. We do black box, gray box, white box, the malware, the attack on the AD. If you do that, you will be surprised how many passwords Pentera will crack. Even if you have a policy that say, okay, it's 12, 16 passwords, you will see that Pentera will be able to crack some passwords. So we run all this scan during the week, and then each time there is an achievement at level 10, then we need immediately to do something. There is a ticket created in Jira, and then somebody assigned to solve that issue. It was also a way to test our SOC. When we put in place our new SOC, I didn't sleep a few nights because the SOC was calling me in the middle of the night, say, there is a hacker trying to encrypt your server. And then by checking, we say, no, it's Pentera, it's okay. So it took us a few days to fine-tune and whitelist Pentera to avoid these false positives, but at least it's good that we were able to test the SOC. Yesterday, I was at a conference with another customer that is currently installing Pentera, and they told me that they installed Pentera, or perhaps it was in the POV, and the SOC called them half day later. And they had the proof that in the log, Pentera was detected, but the SOC did not act during half a day. So they were very upset with the SOC, and they told me that there is even somebody who had been fired at the SOC, not having taking action, because it could have been a real attack.
Yeah, so regarding the SOC, so it's also good to validate the SOC and the fact that they see actions during the night, the weekends, and across all the week. In terms of the SOC validation is as well the security tools that you have in place, so you are able also to sleep better at night because you have Pentera running the validation.
So yeah, before Pentera, we were doing, sometimes you need to do some pen testing because, okay, you change something in your infrastructure. The problem, the day after the pen testing, you could already have a new vulnerability, and okay, it's good for the business or for some certification or regulation, you need to prove that you have done pen testing on your critical system. But that does not guarantee that everything is fine. And pen testing, you can do it on a limited scope. With John Cockerill in 29 countries, we don't have the budget to do 20 pen testing per year. So it was just a few systems that we could pen test in the past. And now, as I mentioned, we are just selecting different type of scan that we schedule during the year. We are also doing reporting for the business, for the management. We don't talk CVE and things like that, but achievement, when we mention, okay, we were able to hack the system, that they can understand. So, and also the trends, because no, it's difficult. It's good. We have very, very few high-level achievement, which is good, because, but time to time we have a new achievement at level 10 because there is a new vulnerability or something that we change in the infrastructure, and so we need to act. But no, it's true that after a few years, it becomes a routine for the system engineer. They are using that on a daily basis, and there are tickets that are assigned and closed very rapidly. And sometimes we use that the result even to change. What I have done recently, we increase the password strength, for example, for all the employees. There are always people who will complain. They say, "Oh, it's too long" and things like that. But there we have some KPI to show that we can even, if we want, give names. Then we have GDPR problem. But so we can really track some KPIs to see the value of the scan.
And you spoke about the fact that you report to the management. So based on the reports that you get, are you able to quantify risk or to give a better posture to non-technical people, management people maybe? So,
well, today it's more trends that we show, and then if we have an achievement at level 10, then we say, okay, this month we detect something major, we fix it. But that's the kind of information. Also, we are using that for certification with auditors, because it's good evidence. We can use the report. We have the follow-up in Jira, so we can really on the vulnerability part. If it's for ISO 27001, NIS2, or CMMC for the defense sector, we are using that with the auditor to prove that we are really doing it. It's not just a scan and then we do nothing. We can show the evolution and we can show that we fix things, and then when we rerun the same scan, we don't find the achievement anymore. And it's also very easy for a system engineer to find what he needs to patch, because there are a lot of documentation. When there is an achievement, you can click and then you see all the vulnerability that have been used, but also you have explanation on how to fix the problem. Because sometimes, it could be complex to fix a vulnerability, and so you have the documentation. So for the system engineer, even the junior one, it's easy to do the fix. So yes, risk reduction for sure. Cost reduction, let's say we are able to do more with the same amount of people, because it's difficult to talk about cost reduction when the attack surface increased a lot during the last few years. So yes, we do a lot more now, and we didn't have to increase the size of the team with the same rate and the number of users or sites. And then yes, but that's linked increase productivity of the system engineer team. It's just they can just check in the morning the report. I receive also For each scan, I receive an executive summary. So I don't need all the technical detail. I just for each scan receive a PDF with the result of the scan. So I can look and ask questions to the system engineer. If I see that, okay, we have an achievement level 10, I want to understand why. And
And in terms of the support that you get from the solution architect and the customer success, so is it help the team to move forward, progress, or?
But we have a very good contact with Pentera for now 5 years. By the way, we renewed the contract just a few days or few weeks ago. No, the system engineer are quite expert in the use of Pentera, but at the beginning we needed somebody to help us, and so we had easy contact with Nadav team to if there are some questions, because you will have questions, especially when you have many sites. How do you scan? You will not do one scan for 29 sites and 7,000 people. You need to decide, and so you have also firewalls that could block things, so you need to deploy an infrastructure to do that, and there you need some support. So you call not Nadav, but the engineer or the architect to help to do that work.
Do you still do vulnerability scans?
Sorry?
Do you still do vulnerability scans?
We do it, but it's just because we receive the tool for free when we implement the SOC. So but we don't. It's just running, and then time to time somebody look at it, but it would take too much time to act on all the vulnerabilities. But we have it, so it's running, and yeah. But we don't take action, and we don't proactively look at all the vulnerability.
And Philippe, maybe a last question. If tomorrow morning, so I come and I take you Pentera from the network, so what you are doing?
But then the system engineer will not be happy, because for the management, they are still expecting the same thing. Management wants to have risk reduction, be sure that we don't have an attack, and we know that we will have attacks. So, so today we don't have an alternative. With the small team, I've worked in an organization where they had a vulnerability team. So a team that were only do that, and they had 10 people in that team that were only doing that. It was in the financial industry. When you are working in engineering and manufacturing, you don't have one to do that. You have 0. It's part of the normal task of the system engineer. So you cannot do that. So no, they will not be happy if you remove it. But we will not remove it.
Yeah, you will keep Pentera, so everything is good. You can sleep well at night, so everything is okay. So thank you, Philippe. I strongly and welcoming you to our booth. It's on the left side, and we can deep dive also in answering questions, do some demos, and for the people that like swags, we have enough swags. Thank you.